had your career high with 22, and the team shot 50% from the field. What was working for you personally, and what was working for the team out there?
For me personally, I'd just say, I made shots. I've been staying in the gym recently, getting extra work in, especially during this point of the season can be tough. Bodies are sore and stuff. And I think it's the same with the team as well. People are in before practice getting shots up and coming at night getting shots up. And I think in a game like this, it really shows.
Obviously, you start the game on a 12-0 run. You forced NIU into a lot of bad three-point looks to start the game. How are you able to just kind of force so many bad shots defensively on the other side?
Coming in, we knew that they were going to take a ton of three-point shots. So, that was kind of the game plan, to make them tough shots. And, if you're taking tough contested threes, that's a difficult shot to make.
Just looking at a bit in the record books, the most wins ever for Miami this season is 24. You guys have now improved your record to 21-7. Mm-hmm. Is this kind of a record that, with three games left in the season, that you look to try to strive towards, or is it a case of where let's take each game as we go and try to improve our record and just have a good run going into the postseason?
Mm-hmm. That's definitely something that we have talked about. That's not our main focus, but that's definitely something that we are striving for, to tie that. For sure.
Last couple of games, the bench unit has been really impressive scoring the ball tonight, 49 points off the bench. What is the mindset of that bench unit coming off and trying to make an impact?
Just to come in and be aggressive. We know that we have a great bench. We can score the ball, we can defend, we can do a little bit of everything. So just coming in and being aggressive is definitely a mindset for us coming off the bench.
That Kent State game, you guys got out-rebounded by like 15, but you out-rebounded NIU by 20. What was the change in physicality tonight?
Just coming in, we knew that the games we lost and even Kent State, we got out-rebounded pretty badly. So that's something we've been drilling in practice a lot, working on. Come in, and we were just more physical tonight, and I think it shows that in the stat sheet.
So 2 wins on the bounce now after a couple losses before on the road with Western Michigan and Eastern Michigan. You mentioned before that kind of getting to this end of the season, injuries might flare up or just kind of being tired. How did you bounce back, both yourself and as a team, and do you look to take this momentum forward into the postseason when you're looking at the MAC tournament upcoming?
Yeah, I think those 2 losses not woke us up, but kind of lit a fire under us again. And then we just kept doing what we were doing before when it was working, and we kind of got back to that and reeled ourselves back in. I think that's showing in these past 2 games.
Hey, Brant,
You touched a little bit on the team culture earlier. How's that team culture looking like this year?
It's terrific. Everybody gets along. There's no beef. There's no nothing like that. So in losses like we had, those 2 losses, and even Akron earlier in the season, that we didn't really let that affect us, and I think that's allowing us to respond in these past 2 games.
Yeah, I was really proud of our guys' approach here the last couple days. We obviously were off on Saturday after the Kent State game, which was I think it was our first day off in about a week and a half, which was much needed to get healthy, get some rest. And then obviously we practiced on Sunday. We usually don't practice on Sundays, but due to our schedule this week, we went kind of live on Sunday and then practiced on Monday. I thought our guys had 2 really good days. Again, our player leadership between Evan Ipsaro and Peter Suter and Dan Lewis, I thought did a great job of just leading the group and making sure that we were tight with our details. Our effort was great in practice. I was very confident going into the game. Northern Illinois, I told our guys I got a lot of respect for Coach Berno, and they've been in every game, it seems like, over the last 10 games. It was all single-digit games. I think there was 2 games out of the last 12, actually, where they were double-digit, Akron by 10 both times. But they were in a lot of games they could have easily have won. And I kept on, imploring our guys not to look at their record because it's going to be a hard game. I thought our rebounding was tremendous. We only gave up 3 offensive rebounds tonight. Our defense was really on it. We were contesting a lot of shots, and that allowed us to get out and transition. And that's when we're at our best, is when we're playing with great pace. I know we ended up with 10 steals. I think Makai Cooper had six of them. So we were able to score a lot off our defense as well. And again, it's the same, kind of been the same formula for us all year. It's just strength in numbers. You don't know who it's going to be that night. Like tonight, Brant had 22 and Ian had 22. Reese Potter was phenomenal. I think Luke's playing great ball. We just have a lot of guys that are impacting the game in a positive way. Our attention will go very quickly here obviously to Ohio, which is Battle of the Bricks Part 2 on the road. I think it's been a while since we've won at the Convo down in Athens. So our approach is we got to move very quickly onto them.
Coach, a couple times this season you've talked about asking your team to give you a full 40 minutes. How close was it tonight? 38 minutes with the lead, 50% from the field. How close does this performance rank in that?
Pretty
that
good.
request?
Last minute wasn't great, but we had a couple turns right there, but gave up a straight line drive and a wide open three. But I thought from start to finish, I thought we dominated the game. We played well. And again, you want to peak at the right time. I think it's so important, and especially in our league, it's a one-bid league. You got to win 3 games in 3 days up in Cleveland, and you got to know when to really, 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 really push. So right now is the time to push, right? So hopefully we can take another spurt here of growth.
And Coach, 49 points from your bench tonight, obviously with the last 3 games coming up and then the MAC tournament. How important is it to keep them rolling going into the final stretch?
It's everything. I think we're built to win in March, and I think with our depth, because again, you play those 3 games in 3 days, you're going to get tired. It's a lot. It's intense basketball. I mean, it's the highest level. So it's like you got to be able to use our depth, which we have. So we got to continue to defend and rebound. Those are the 2 things I'm really all over. Number one's our rebounding, because that's when we're at our best, is when we're pushing. But if we can't get a clean defensive rebound, we can't push the ball. If the ball is going through the net or it's a chunky rebound, like tipped around, we can't get out and go. So again, the rebounding was much better tonight. Thought our defense was better as well. We had 8 kills, which we tracked those 3 stops in a row. Our goal is to get 7. We had 8. So our defensive numbers, hopefully on Ken Palm, will get a little better.
So the team had 16 points from turnovers in the game, double that of NIU. Is this something that you guys are looking to focus on, or at least capitalize on, given the chance?
For sure. I think we're 3rd in the league in creating turnovers by percentage of possessions. So we're handsy. I think we have good athletes, guys that anticipate off the ball, guys like Ian, Cooper, Evan, Luke. We have a lot of guys that see things, and I think that carries over to the offensive end too. Guys that can see things. You see the next play, you can anticipate. I want our guys to be that way. Use their instincts. Because that's when you're at your best. When you can score off your defense and the defense isn't set, analytically, that's the best time to play.
Yeah, Coach, congrats on the win. The offense this year is setting a school record by averaging just over 81 points a game, an 11-point jump from last year. Yeah. What changes have you seen from the team this year, and how do you plan on carrying this on into the postseason?
I think, number one, we got really good players. It helps. It makes me look like I can coach a little bit, which is hard to do. But, our guys share it. I think that's the connectivity our guys have off the court, I think, is really, really loud on the court in the way that we share the ball and the way that we play defensively as a team. That's our goal, is to be the most connected team in the MAC. That's our mission statement. And if we can do that, then I feel like we're going to give ourselves a great opportunity to win. And we got a lot of high IQ guys. I don't really call a ton of set plays. We play more conceptual, which is harder to scout, to be honest, but it takes a lot longer to get good at. And you got to have high IQ guys that can shoot the ball, which we have a lot of those guys out there. So which is good for us.
At this point of the season, you talk about potentially players being tired, injuries maybe coming up, the needing from rest days, as you said before, with the Kent State game. Obviously, you've been in this position before, having coached both here the last few years, and then Xavier before, looking at a potential postseason. You've been increasingly getting better at your time here, 12-20, 15-17, and now a huge jump to 21-7. 3 more games of the regular season. You talk about wanting to peak again. How are you able to do this and then be able to keep all your players kind of in shape when it is getting this time of the year where we are talking about, again, your injuries and tired?
Yeah, I think, I'll give you an example. So, we lost 2 games in a row there against Western and Eastern, and probably my first year being a head coach, I probably would have lost my mind and we'd have practiced 2.5 hours the next day. But I think you got to see the bigger picture, and you want to keep your guys fresh. Guys want to play hard, but if they don't have the ability to play hard because they don't have the juice that night, well, then it's irrelevant. So we keep really track. We try to keep practice very tight, and our players help do that because they're smart. They understand, listen, if we go for an hour and 20 minutes, it's going to be high intensity, and it is going to be one thing to the next. There's no wasted time. I mean, literally none. We run really, really efficient practices. So our players allow us to do that because we get smart guys. And it helps keep guys fresh, both physically, mentally, because at this point of the year, some guys are checked out. They're thinking about what's next, especially in the landscape that we're in. It's like, with the transfer portal looming, coming up here March 15th or whatever it is, it's like guys start thinking about, hey, what's next for them? And it's like, I haven't gotten that sense at all with our guys. They're living right where their feet are, living in the moment, which I love. But outside of practice, and that's just what we make sure our guys get extra work in. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Just get some extra shots up by yourself with your position coach a couple times a week. Make sure they keep watching film, right? It's a way to kind of like stay off your feet, but continue to get better that way. But we go hard for that hour and 20 minutes, but we want to shrink, again, the level of the workload, the total workload that our guys have. So I do think there's an art to it. During the preseason practice back in October, we're probably going 2 hours solid every day. Now we're just trying to shrink that. Honestly, we'll probably get down to an hour here over the next week. Yep.
You touched on a lot of aspects of team culture, and this is your third season here. Have you done anything to improve that culture, or is that something that the team has picked up about by themselves?
Yeah, culture is such a buzzword, right? And I think like a lot of times they're just words. It's how are you living them out every single day. The one thing that I've learned, you go through every experience is a great experience because you can learn. One of the things I learned from my Xavier experience was our North Star has to be our core values. I hire based on our core values. I bring in guys that fit our core values. And if they don't, I don't care how talented you are, I'm not taking you. And that's from an assistant coach standpoint. That's from, I don't care if you're a GA. I don't care if you're a manager. I don't care if you're a player. It doesn't really matter, right? Everything has to align. And that's what we have right now. And I think that's kind of what our secret sauce to a degree. We have guys that fit. We hire based on that. And then our guys have a great understanding. We teach them exactly what it means to be a Miami basketball player and what we represent. And they understand how to live out those core values on a day-to-day basis. And it's not just words on a wall. For example, compete at every moment is one of our core values. So we compete every day in practice, all the way back to June when our guys got here. We track everything in practice. There's a winner and a loser to every drill we do, every drill. And we make sure that the guys, the best practice players, they get the little black jersey of the week. We do that every single week. We track every stat imaginable because we want it to be a competitive environment. That's one example, a very small example of how we live out one of our core values.
Coach, how do you plan to continue this momentum from your last 2 games onto the next one on the road?
Yeah, it's a great opportunity at Ohio. I think I don't know how long it's been. Again, I'm not a numbers guy. I don't look to the history a lot. I come in here and sometimes I get the information from you guys. It's been a long time since we've won at the Convo in Athens, and it's been too long. So just have a great approach. Tomorrow we're off, but then we're on Wednesday or on Thursday and on Friday. Can we have great practices? Right? We'll have a great game plan going into it. We'll probably have to make some adjustments from game 1 going into game 2. I'll watch a ton of film starting tonight on Ohio, and I'll watch film of this one, and then I'll watch Ohio. I'll come in on Thursday. We'll watch first film of this Northern Illinois game, show them some positives, some negatives too, some things that we can do better, how we can continue to grow, and then we'll go out on the floor for probably an hour and 15 minutes on Thursday and go hard and start to really game prep for Ohio. Watch film on them, get to know their personnel and their actions. Again, you can't ever get tired of the process, and I think it's so hard as a player sometimes. I think one of the traits that I really value is consistency. Right? Can you be the same guy every single day? I could do the same thing every day, and I don't ever get tired. But that's hard for human beings, and I know that. But if we want to win, then you can't get tired of the process. So we got to win the game on Thursday and Friday.
Hey, Coach, so you guys are having a really great season. You guys are leading in every area in your team stats except for attendance. So kind of looking to the future with the building of the new Millet, what are your opinions just on the location? How are you guys preparing for it?
Yeah.
And do you think that moving it closer to campus and being on campus will help with that attendance?
Yeah. So first off, I would say, I said this probably after our Kent State game. Year one, we played Evansville, our game one here. And I'll never forget walking out of the tunnel. I was like, oh, my God. It looked like it was a morgue. I mean, it really did. You could hear a pin drop. Every word I said, everybody in the whole gym could hear, and I wasn't used to that. And it's, and I kind of had to make an adjustment a little bit with how I coach, although I'm going to be who I am, and I'm not ashamed of that. It's gotten a lot better. We've had student attendance it wasn't as good tonight, but it's been phenomenal here in conference play. And I give our marketing is gotten better. Is it where we want it to be? No. Is it where it was? No. It's building. I think it takes so much time. And I've used this metaphor before. We're building a house right now. My wife and I are, and it takes literally an hour and a half to knock down a house, and it takes maybe a year and a half to build. It takes time to build a program that's going to be sustainable. So, everything's got to pull in the same direction: talent, culture, marketing, facilities. So now you mentioned like the facility, the potential of a new facility, and I think, the way that I view men's basketball is we're not just men's basketball, all athletics are kind of the front porch of the university, right? We're not the most important people at all, but I do think that we can provide an experience for students and alumni that even once you leave Miami, that you can still be a part of, right? Everybody fills out the March Madness, the NCAA tournament brackets, and I did it every time when I was little, since I was 3 years old, right? I would do it every March, and I think the recognition you get from a school standpoint, being in that tournament, is priceless, right? And if we can give our students that experience and our alumni base that experience, I think it could really help with everything. With people that come to school here, that want to come to school to Miami, or making their decision in the spring, and it's like, hey man, Miami's in the NCAA tournament. That facility helps recruit, it helps retain, it helps bring more energy to Oxford, concerts, all the different stuff. It's not just a men's basketball deal. It's way bigger than that. And I think the impact that could have. So it would be very exciting if it happens. I think it would be great for obviously our men's basketball team, but I think it would be great for Miami and for Oxford as well.
Coach, obviously now 21 wins this season, 21-7. Your best record individually as a coach, so congratulations on that. Thanks. First of all, now we talk about from Miami's standpoint, we haven't been to the NCAA tournament since 2007. We haven't had any postseason, CBI, but not the NIT as well.
CBI doesn't count.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly, but and with this as well, the school's record is 24 wins in a season from most wins in a season. There hasn't been that NCAA tournament appearance or NIT appearance. Do you feel any kind of pressure to look at these last 3 games, try to hit that 24 wins, and also through to the MAC tournament?
Not really. I mean, we're just building. Listen, this is just the beginning. I told David Saylor that, our AD, people around here are excited, which is great. We've only won 21 games. The goal is to get this place to where it's never been before, right? And that's eventually, we want to get this thing to consistently competing for MAC championships and advancing in the NCAA tournament. And there's no reason why it can't be done here. It's the vision I had for the program, my wife and I had for the program when we took it. It was almost like, your business models for all you business majors out there and stuff. It's like, hey, you got to know when to sell and you got to know when to buy, right? Miami stock was low, men's basketball-wise, when I got here, right? So we bought low. Not that we're going to sell high, so I want to make sure that's clear. I love being here. We're not leaving. But I do think that we bought low. And David Saylor's been really patient. I told him it was going to take a couple years. I said, we're going to try to do this thing the right way, something that'll be sustainable over time and not just be a one-hit wonder. Milli Vanilli. You probably don't know who Milli Vanilli is, do you? You guys probably weren't even born, so you could probably come up with a different music artist. But look him up later. But I do think that we want to create a program that's going to win, and there's no reason why. I mean, you walk campus here. Listen, it's like Disney World. This is I mean, when I think of a college campus, you think of Miami. I mean, I came here when I was in high school. I visited back here, and I was like, man, that's where I want to go. And they didn't think I was good enough, and they were probably right. Coach Coles was, and it's a beautiful campus, elite academics. There's no reason why we can't have elite basketball here. And you see what Chuck Martin's built, what Coach Anako. I mean, everybody. We've had so many different success stories. Softball, it's been incredible. Baseball, I mean, everything. I mean, everything wins here. We've had a great success. Coach Noreen's going to build that program. I'm going to tell you that in hockey. His energy and his ability to recruit, he's going to absolutely crush it. We got good coaches. We can win really, 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 really big here. And this is just the very, very start of it, in my opinion.